Hi, everyone, and welcome to Crowded Beaker Solves. In this episode, we're going to begin our journey by looking at a one-step conversion problem, which will allow us to think about doing unit conversions in chemistry class. And it's a conversion problem that you'll do many times if you hang around the chem lab long enough, and that's the conversion of a certain amount in milliliters into liters. And that's because a lot of our glassware that we use in chemistry has measurements in milliliters, but later on we might need it to be in liters for some other purpose. So let's get started. Now, whenever you're doing a unit conversion, you're not actually changing the magnitude of your measurement. You're simply changing the units that it's represented in. Okay, that's important to remember. And so the first thing you should do when you do a unit conversion problem is to start by just simply writing down what you have. Not only will it help you keep track of things, but for anybody reading your work, they'll know exactly where you're starting. And you'll also want to make sure that it gets a unit. Because it's a measurement, it has a unit that's attached to it. And then what you want to do is give yourself a room for a fraction. And that fraction is an important fraction. We call it a conversion factor. This whole process is called dimensional analysis. And the conversion factor contains two measurements that are equal to each other. So this fraction is equal to 1, but they're represented in different units. 1, the unit you're starting with, and 2, the unit you're trying to get to. So once we have our starting unit, we're going to put that on the bottom because this started on the top. We want it on the bottom so that it will get destroyed. I already know that's going to get destroyed. Now, I also want to know, my question is, how many liters will this be? So that's the unit that should go on the top. That's what I want to end up with. And then maybe I know how many liters are in a milliliter or vice versa, or maybe I have to look it up in a table somewhere. Either way, at this point, is fine. But it turns out that in every 1 liter, which is the bigger volume, there are 1,000 milliliters. And so I'm going to put those numbers with the appropriate units. And then to finally solve my problem, I need to multiply across the top, divide by what's on the bottom, and then work it out. So 341.9 times 1 doesn't change the value, divided by 1,000, and I will get 0.3419 liters. That's my answer. It's in the appropriate unit. It is a smaller number than I started with because now my units that I'm using are bigger, so I need less of them. And I often like to put a little box or a rectangle and a heart around it just to kind of set it off and show that I'm done with that problem. So that's how you do a dimensional analysis. Again, start with the unit you have, put that on the bottom, assuming it started on the top. Give yourself the new unit, find the relationship between them, and work out your solution, multiplying across the top and dividing by what's on the bottom. Make sure to highlight your answer at the end, of course. So now that you've seen me do a one-step unit conversion, I'm going to put another one over here. It's a very similar one, although you might see how it's different from the one that I just did. But it is a one-unit, one-step conversion. So feel free to pause the video, try this solution in your notebook or on a separate sheet of paper or wherever, and then unpause the video and we'll look at the solution. Okay, so if you were able to do it and find out that the answer is 1,240 milliliters, then congratulations, you're doing a good job. You're off to a good start. And the way we did it was by starting with what we had, the liters, putting the liters on the bottom, and this time milliliters went on the top because that's what I was going for. So the 1,000 goes on the top, the 1 on the bottom, and now I just multiply it across the top, and I get 1,240. Now, I put it in scientific notation here for a reason, because of something called significant digits. I have 3 digits in my measurement, so I really should only have 3 important digits in my answer. Sometimes you'll get your calculator, which will give you like 30 digits, and you'll be tempted to put them all down, but please don't. So I wanted to end up with 3. So I had the 1, the 2, and the 4, but it was a little bit bigger, so I had to put a 0 there. It's a placeholding 0. I didn't put a decimal point. It's fine, but it's just saying it's about 1,240 milliliters. That's all I know. But I can get rid of that problem by simply putting it in scientific notation as 1.24 times 10 to the third milliliters, and then I still end up with just my 3 digits that I started with at the beginning. Okay, so there you have it. A one-step unit conversion to get you off to a good start in your chemistry journey. And I will be posting more, but if you do have any suggestions of problems that you'd like me to solve, you can feel free to add them down below. And in the meantime, happy solving.